So, hi guys, my name is Gillian, and welcome to ASL first level, basically. So I want to give a little bit about myself and just kind of let you know how I go through these classes and how it's going to kind of go. First off, as you probably notice, as I do sign as I talk. Typically, when we have our summer classes, it's not as often that I do this, but now that we're back to school, I'm very much like stuck in like ASL mind mode where I can't like stop my signing. A lot of people tend to like that I do that because then you see like certain signs, and like Miss Katie like just noticed a sign I've not signed before. She was like, wait a minute. And like you kind of will pick up on a few as we go along. But if there's ever anything you're like, wait a minute, I'm lost, could you repeat that? Just let me know. You can put it in the chat. Let me open mine up actually. I like to have that open ready. Just put it in the chat and I typically will see it and we can address it or whatever needs to be done. Next thing, tonight's class is going to be kind of an easy start basics kind of class. We're going to work on the ABCs. Then I think, did you share with them the like all the weeks of the classes?
I didn't yet, but what I plan to do is I was afraid I was sending out too much information because the email was so big. When I email y'all tomorrow, I'll have the list of what we plan to talk about at each of our classes. So we'll cover family signs and numbers and occupations and things like that. With just about every one of those lessons, we have some phrases that we'll cover so that you could sort of have an, casual conversation with someone. If you work in a field or you have a special interest in a field that is sort of atypical, and you would like to learn some signs, let us know. And by that, I don't mean like if you're like a mitochondrial physiologist, like don't do that. We're not going to find those signs for you. But if you're like a bank teller, do you know what I'm saying? like, I mean, I'm sure Jillian could find you those signs, but we did have a bank teller and she had a client who was deaf and she really wanted to just be able to greet her and like she did all her other clients, so that was really cool. And we've had like Sunday school teachers, and we had an anesthesiologist, and that was funny because he was like, how do I sign my job? And we were like, haha, you have to finger sell it, and like it's so long and like I would forget how to spell it. And but anyway, so we've had lots of neat students and people with different backgrounds. So if you're a musician, like we typically don't do like a lot with arts and music and so if there's something you're interested in, let us know, and we'd be happy to help you out, learn some signs. Like that's how we got the money section added. We'll cover like dollars, cents, and currency, and that's because of the bank teller. So yeah, sorry to barge in
No,
there.
you're totally good. So like she was saying that. So if you ever have any like curious like signs for this or even questions about deaf culture, like things like that, that you maybe are like, would that be like offensive, insulting? You can ask. This is a safe space. That meaning you can, if you're like not sure, you don't want to offend anyone, you can ask. And I will tell you if it's no, they probably won't be offended, or that might could be upsetting to them. Anything like that. I promise you are not going to ask a question that's I'm going to be like, I can't believe you'd ask that. There's very, very, very few questions you could ask that would do that. So please feel comfortable enough to ask any questions you guys have. I also do like to know, I was about to forget, and then he reminded me, I have two dogs. And sometimes, it's very rarely, to me, I hear it, but maybe you guys not. They like to bark, and they can be very loud. If that happens, I try to get them quiet, but sometimes I may have to mute myself while I go take them outside to go get them where it's a quieter place. Please let me know if like you're hearing anything. Like I have my washing machine on right now. I'm hoping it's not that loud. I can, okay, good. I can never tell. I really can't. I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, all the noises right now. They're going to be like, this is too much. But if you guys ever hear anything, just let me know and I can always make sure the dogs are moved over wherever they need to be. So, okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, what I was saying with the classes is, so this week's class is going to be a little bit easier. Next week's probably won't be too bad, but we do kind of get in the later classes a little bit more content heavy. There's a lot of signs. And the reason I do this is, like Miss Katie was saying, since she does video and like save these videos, you can go back and check. So I try to almost give you a like plethora, like a list of different words and the signs. So that way you may have a long list, you have access to the videos right there for you. So we may not practice like again and again as often, but you will have that accessibility to be able to go back and see. So, but if there's ever a sign or anything that you're like, oh, can you repeat this? Just let us know. And then like the next class or whatever, we can redo them again. So, okay, I am gonna make myself, I'm gonna try to see, I do this every time, pin myself to where I'm big so you guys can see me. But then I need to make it to where I can see you guys because I like to see everyone. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So for tonight, we're gonna start with our ABCs. And I always like to, I can always tell when someone's had the ABCs before because we've had a few people who knew their ABCs and they sit here and they're just going so fast. And I'm like, you've taken that, you knew that. So if you have, great. If you haven't, totally fine. We're all gonna go through this. Okay, so our first sign we're gonna do is the sign for A. And so for A, you're gonna have your fingers bent with your thumb on its side. A. And if you see me bouncing, it's me checking every hand. Like I'm one of those where I have to like visually like move my head going, yep, right. So, okay, then we have B. B is going to be 4 fingers up with your thumb across. Okay. Then C is going to be C. D is going to be your pointer finger up. You're going to kind of be making like a circular shape with your other hands. D. And then F is going to be your other 3 fingers up. So your pointer finger is down in a circle, like the okay sign. I love how I just was sitting here going, yeah, I'm going to describe this when I could just say okay. All right. I skipped E. Y'all, don't let me do this. If I go slow, I lose my place in the alphabet. Don't let me. You say, Gillian, you missed one. Go back. I caught it. I was like, F does not feel right. Why did I say F? It's a teacher in me where I will be like going from school and I'll come here and I start to go through it. I'm like, wait a minute, I've missed something. So let me go back. We have our E after our D. And so for E, you're going to have your 4 fingers bent. You don't really want to have them touching your thumb, but they're resting close. Good. Okay. Now, I do have a funny story to add with this one, and I say it every class. And I do that. I like to add little stories to make it interesting. So you're not just sitting here just kind of like just watching me do all these hand signs. So with the sign for E, it's really important you kind of relax it kind of lower and not do this, like this, where it's like a big space between. Because if you do this, people will say you are doing a screaming E, meaning you are screaming E at them. When I was learning ASL, because I took 2 years of it in high school, and then before I went to college and took it as my career. When I was learning ASL, I kept doing E's like this. Like I couldn't help it. It was just a force of habit. It would just make a big old wide space. And I remember I was spelling something to my teacher, and she looked at me and she just kind of was watching. And then she goes, "Why are you screaming E's at me right now?" And I was like, "What?" Because I never heard this before. And she was like, "Your E is wide. You are yelling E's to me. Quit it." And I was like, okay. So I always like to think every time I do this, all I hear in my head is don't be a screaming E. Do a tiny little E. Okay. So then after E, we had the F, which again was the F. And we'll do one more before we go back. So then we have G. G is going to be kind of like you're making the like little pinch sign, and you're going to turn it forward. G. Good. Okay. Let's go back to our A. So we had A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. G. Mm-hmm. Good, 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 good. Okay, awesome. All right, so now on to our next letter. We have is H. So H is going to be similar to G, but now instead of one finger, it's two fingers. H. And I will say, some people ask, they like to be really specific. And so I like to kind of, I'll just add this little here. When you're doing an H, if you put your thumb down, that's okay. It does not have to always be straight. It can, either way, it doesn't really make a big difference. You can't really see the difference except when I do big movements. If you have it sitting like this, or if you have it with the thumb back here, either way is fine. That's not going to make a big impact to the sign or the letter for H. So H. Then we have I. It's going to be your pinky up. Then J, with your pinky, you're going to make a J motion. J. J. Now, with this, this is always an interesting topic because I'm left-handed. And when I learned it, I learned that I had to do J's going inside while people right-handed had to do J's going outside with the out. And the reason for that is because from the other person's perspective, like when they're looking at it, it looks like the proper J. But then when I went to college and I had a different teacher, she explained, you don't have to, it's not the biggest deal. And then even at my school now where I work with deaf students and my deaf coworkers, they even are like, it's not the end of the world if you do J's going in like this, J or J. So really either motion of the J works. So if you are like, well, I've already learned it and I learned it going out, you do you. That one works, I promise. If you go inward, that is also okay. I was very strict about it in like our first class when we first started because I was like, it must go out, must go out. And then I had a big talk with someone. They're like, no, you really don't. And I was like, why was I told this? So J. So we have our J. Now for K, what you're going to do is you're going to have your K is going to do the shape like this. Bring your middle finger forward, kind of like that. And you're going to stick your thumb between them. Okay. This is one of those not like, it's not going to feel comfortable at first. Okay. If you're like, this feels awkward, it feels weird, it's because your hands are not used to moving in these positions before. So I promise with time, it gets a little bit easier. But yeah, so this is K. Then we have L. So L. M is going to be 3 fingers over your thumb. And this one, like my little tidbit to help is I always think about when you write an M, you literally go thumb, thumb. Like I visually see the M. Okay. Then we have N. It's going to be 2 fingers over your thumb. N. Again, I see the N shape here. So just to be like helpful with memory. And then our last one we're going to do is O. So O is O. Okay. Let's go back. So we stopped at G. So we did H, H, I, the pinky up, J, K. Ooh, my pinky wanted to stay up that time. L, M, N. Good. And then O. O. Okay, good. If you're starting to feel like the muscles like almost stretching in your hand, that's normal. It's normal. I promise. I promise. I'm not gonna make you break a finger or pinky doing this. It's gonna feel weird because typically when you don't like you're not used to moving your hands in those shapes, it is very awkward feeling. Like you might be going, oh my gosh, ow. That happens. I promise. When I learned it was the same way. We all were like, is this right? This does not feel right. And it's because your hands have not been used to moving in that position. The minute you start to practice though, oh, you'll start to be able to do like fluttering all over the place. So, okay, so we have our O, P. P is going to be the same as K, but now you're going to bend it down. P. 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 Okay. Then we have Q.
Hey, Jillian,
Yes.
can we remind everybody though that you're not up here? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It's hard to remember that.
Yes. And I always say it like, I feel like 3 weeks into this class and I'm like, oh, wait, probably should say just start off. When I am finger spelling or signing, I sign kind of up higher. The reason is because of my screen. You can't see down low. When you're typically signing or finger spelling, it is more of a natural resting spot. So like if I was finger spelling, you can tell my hand is much lower. It's right here where it's comfortable. I'm not up here right at my head going A, B, C, D. Like I'm not doing that. It's down here, A, B, C.
Which, I mean, I assume at some point, everybody would be like, okay, but I just thought we should say,
Yes.
just so we say.
So if you see it up here, typically that means it's going to be down lower, more at a comfortable level. I promise. Okay. So thank you for that because we have done that before where we don't say it until like 4 or 5 weeks into class. We were at, so we had our P. So P, even though I have it up here, it would be resting more down here. Okay. So my P will be up here for more dramatic so you guys can see it. Then we have Q. So Q is going to be like that pinch again, pointing down. Q. R is going to be R. You're going to cross your fingers like we're saying, cross your fingers like you're not going to keep a secret kind of deal. Then S is going to be like A, but now with your thumb in front. S. Then we have T. T is going to be one finger over your thumb. If you hear that, I apologize. It's a very loud, noisy, old washing machine. It's just making big noises back there. And I'm like, I hope that no one can hear that. Anyway, so we have a T. Okay, good. So you can't. Okay, I am just going crazy then. We're good. All right. So U is going to be 2 fingers up. Then we have V. W. Our X is going to be like a little hook for a pirate. X. Y is going to be pinky and thumb. If you see it, it makes the shape of a Y. That's just a little helpful tidbit. And then Z is going to go Z. You're going to make a Z shape, zigzag. Okay. Fun fact on the X. Again, starting classes, when we were doing this, I kept always saying X like a pirate, X like a pirate. And I was like, why do I keep thinking about a hook, like Captain Hook with an X? Like, how does that make sense? Like the connection. And then Miss Katie finally, like one class was like, because X marks the spot for the treasure chest, Jillian. Like, how have we not made this connection? Literally took me like a year, guys, of me saying X like a pirate to never make that connection. So that's like my little fun story to help you remember the sign for X. Okay, let's now go back through our ABCs. We're going to do them all together for this first round. Then we're going to do it where I say it and you guys sign it. And then at the end, we'll do a little bit of phrases where you can, basic phrases you can do with the ABCs. Okay? So we had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, good, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Z. Okay, good. All right, awesome. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say them. I will come back with the sign afterwards, like I'll voice it first and then sign it afterwards, but just to kind of test you guys on it, all right? Okay, and if you don't know, if you're like, I can't remember, it's totally fine. This is the first class. I do not expect, like, we ain't grading this. I'm not grading this for effort and given points. Like, it's to try and have fun. So, A, B. If I don't see you guys needing it, I'm not going to sign it. Just saying, because you guys are already getting it. You don't need me repeating it again. C. D. D. That happens way more often than you think. F and D, people will flip so many times. It's very natural. So if you do it, you are not alone in that. I promise. Everyone does it. Like that one's a hard. I don't know what it is. I think it's because it's the flip of having instead of the pointer finger up to being the other three. It's like so opposite. It can't.
Henry asked me, my son asked me to finger spell something this weekend, and I realized I spelled Beth instead of bed. I did it this weekend. I was like,
It's so easy to do. So no worries. All right, we had D, E. Almost skipped our E again. F. G. So one finger for G. There we go. And then H with the 2. I. J. K. L. Good. M. Okay. N. Good. O. P. So our P is like that little with the legs. Yeah. Q. Yeah. So Q is like the little pinchment down. Q. R. S. So you have it. Put your thumb over. There you go. There's a lot all under the fingers. It's so easy. All right. T. U. There you go. U. V. W. There we go. X. Good. There we go. I see it. It keeps coming in and out, but I see it. Y. And then Z. Z. Good. You guys should give yourself a pat on the back. You got it. You got the ABCs. And I promise you, you may not think that is much, but that's actually a big deal. So I'm going to go in explaining this. I know I'm probably doing a lot of explanations right now. It's just to start off, but I probably do it and also a lot during the classes as well. I just kind of give you guys information and different perspectives and different things like that. I like to do. So if you're like, this is not as interesting as you think it is, just smile and nod. Just smile and nod. It'll be okay. So one of the really important things about ABCs that I love with ASL compared to any other language like Spanish, French, etc., is that if you forget the word for something in French, Spanish, whichever, you kind of have to figure out how you're going to like get that word across, to ask for that word. You can't just be like, saying in Spanish, like, what's the word for, and then say the word for, say apple in English. They may not catch that or things like that. But in ASL, if you forget the sign for a word, you can finger spell it, this is the sign for finger spell. It's where you literally just bounce your fingers back and forth. So if I was talking about, let's say, for example, I was like, I want to eat an apple, but I forgot the sign for apple. I can go APPLE. And they most of the time are not going to judge you. They may judge you a little if it's a very simple word, but most of them are not going to judge you for adding finger spelling. And the reason for that is because there are words in English that when you are signing them in ASL, there is no word or sign. You have to finger spell it. And that's what Miss Katie was saying about like certain very specific jobs will be more like that finger spelling. Like when we had the anesthesiologist, I was like, there's not a sign for anesthesiologist. You're gonna have to finger spell anesthesiologist like that. So that's where that kind of comes into play. But fingerspell is very much involved with ASL. And
I
so
would
I
put
always
him
like
in
to
the
say,
ER.
hmm?
ER. That's all you got to. That's all you got to get out. He's gonna have to get a new career.
I mean, really, like that. Whoo, good luck, sir, because I would not want to be the interpreter for that. I'm sorry, but that's also me. Is I do not want to be a medical interpreter. That's a lot of words and a lot of finger spelling. But so with that, I always like to say is you could almost have a starting conversation with ABCs, just having that finger spelling. Because you could, if there was like, suppose there was like an emergency or a situation or something, you were trying to just help. ABCs can help even in that time. So I always like to emphasize how important ABCs are. And once you get those and you work with them, you can get like that's like the first big step I feel in ASL. So with that, let's see. Let's do our phrases first. And then afterwards, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a game kind of deal where I'm going to finger spell words of like different objects, different things. And you guys are going to like receptively look and type the answers. Okay. But we'll do that last. We'll do our phrases first. So the first one we're going to do, very simple, is my name. And I'm sorry, there's another explanation I gotta add here. My name is, when you are using, when you are signing in ASL, we really don't use signs for the words like is and are, were. What they are kind of do is they're more like embedded in the signing itself, the signing process itself. So it kind of makes it a little bit nicer and easier because you don't have to worry about that individual word. And if that, I know this, if it's a lot of information, I know I'm trying to not go like overwhelmed, like, but I can really go on about this. I love this stuff. But it's a little bit more the concept of what is happening, of like what the sentence is, rather than each individual word you sign. So for my name is, you really are just going to sign my and name, and then you're going to finger spell your name. Okay. So the first sign we're going to do is the sign for my, and the sign for my is my. Mm-hmm. This is also mine. This is sign for mine, and my and mine. They're both the same because they're talking about what's something that is yours. So my name is going to be 2 H's, and you're going to go name. And you're going to tap them on top. Name. Mm-hmm. Name. 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 So my name. Okay. And so like for me, I'm going to show you guys mine, for example. I do not expect you guys to see the finger spelling. I'm going to try to go slow, but I sign just as fast as I talk. Meaning my fingers kind of wiggle a lot. I'm going to try to go slow, but I can't always help it. So I would go. Okay. So that's how I would say what my name is. Some people do like to add like my name what in it. But we're just gonna start with the basics now, and we will take on, sorry. I'm voicing what I'm signing, and I'm trying not to do that. The switching will happen. But we will learn that later on. The who's, what's, where's, why's, we will have that. Those WH question words will come later. So my name. What I like for everybody to do now is I'm going to pull that teacher moment right now where I'm going to have everybody say my name and finger spell your name. Okay. If you're like, I'm a little nervous, I promise you it's going to be A-okay. If you have a long name and you're like, that's a lot of letters, you can shorten it. I promise. That's totally fine. I had someone, I mean, that poor woman, her name was like this long. And I was like, you can use a nickname. And she's like, thank you. Because she was like, I cannot keep up with that. So you're more than welcome to use the nickname. And if you forget the letter, I'm going to be watching and I will finger spell with you. With that though, if your name is not the name on the bottom, I will be finger spelling the name on the bottom of like the little corner, what your name is in the corner. So if that is not your name, let me know while we're finger spelling, because I will sit here and I will finger spell everybody's name and you'll be like, that's not mine. That's like my husband's, that's my sister's, whatever. Yeah, just let me know. Okay. So let's see. We're going to get started and I'm going to go in a different direction. I typically start like on my top like corner and go this way. We're going to start in our bottom corner this time. So let me make sure we don't have two of the same names. Okay, good. Emily, would you feel ready to start us off? Okay. Okay, perfect. So you can go on ahead. Someone knows her ABCs. That's why I called on you. I was like, I'm gonna have her go first. I've been watching her. She knew name before I had to even sign it. So, but perfect. Okay. The next one. And if I say your name wrong, please let me know. I do not want to be saying your name wrong the whole time. Alicia. Perfect. Okay. Okay. No, you're totally good. Perfect. That when you were doing the S of the I up here, that's actually a lot more normal than you think. I do that when I say Jillian, when I go really fast, like you can catch, I've already kind of got my L's and my I's up here. It's that fluid motion. So do not think it's a bad thing that your I and your S were together. That can happen when you're spelling your name and you've gotten like really comfortable with it. It will kind of fluidly go together. So good job. Okay, my next one is Lydia. Mm-hmm. Good. Awesome. Okay. The next one I have is Melissa. Perfect. That did remind me. Perfect. When you have a double letter, you did it right. That's why you reminded me. I was like, oh, I'm so glad. So when you have two letters in your name, there are two ways you can do it. The first one is you can tap like Melissa did, where she went S S, or you can do what's the slide motion, where you go like, for me, when I do it, I go Jillian, like I slide my L's across. Either way is fine. Either way works. So whichever, it's more of a preference for you. So I'm glad you did that because I was forgetting, and I even have double letters in my name. All right, perfect. The next one I have is April. Good, awesome. Okay, the next one I have is Shirajini. Did I say that right or wrong? Okay. Awesome. Good, 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 good. Awesome. Okay. The next one I have is Veronica. Did I get that right? Did I get it wrong? Okay, good, good, good. Don't humor me. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. I cannot stand when I say someone's name wrong.
You got it right.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Mhm. Good, awesome. Okay, perfect. The next one I have is Tracy. Awesome. Oh, you do have that E. Because at first I read, I was like, CY, but then I went, no, 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 it's oh, girl, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't stand when the E's and the C's are together because it is so easy to just flip it. Even now, I will still like struggle. So good for you. All right. And then our last one is Keith. Mm-hmm. 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 You got it. You got it. You had it. You were right there.
Was I there with the T?
You were. I saw it. I was like, it's coming. It's coming.
Is that
Mhm.
right? Okay. And H.
Perfect. Okay. So I always like to recommend people practice fingerspelling your name as many times as you want. And the reason for that is because that's the first thing that people are going to ask you. You know, they're going to be like, who are you? And so I always like to say, know how to fingerspell your name. I promise. Also, it's kind of fun. Like, I really like how mine just kind of does that, like how I do that. That's not even Gillian. That's just how smooth it goes, Gillian. Now, if you are fingerspelling to someone, you really want to be clear, do go slow. But like for me, I can't help it. I talk fast. Y'all can gather this from now. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is let's do a few more phrases and then we'll do with our little game. Okay. So we did the sign for fingerspell. I am going to show you the sign for sign. There are two different ones you can use. I see both of them. You probably are going to catch that I go back and forth. The first one is going to be sign. 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 This one is like if you're asking for the specific sign for something. Sign is how I kind of use it. Then the other one is sign. Sign. It's like you open your fist, like they're opening and closing. Sign. And that's more like having a conversation like, oh yeah, I'm signing to her, blah, 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 blah. It's more conversationally wise, whereas this is asking for a specific sign. Again, that's just a preference. That is not like this is in like ASL's like directions is that's exactly how it goes. No, it's just kind of more how I use them and how other people I've seen use them. So but those are the two signs for sign. Then we have, I am learning ASL. So the way we're going to do this, if you remember when I said about the is and the are's, the reason I'm signing these is, oh gosh, you know, I'm going to hold that conversation for next week unless we have time at the end, because that is another topic that we are not getting into right now because I can tell I'm going to bore y'all to death with this. So don't let me forget that though. Is and the R's, I will explain why that's a thing. But we're going to do, when we're doing I am learning ASL, the actual ASL sentence is going to be me learn ASL. Okay. You also can flip it with ASL where it's ASL me learn, but we're just going to start basics right now. Okay. So for me, you're going to point to yourself. So me learn is going to be your non-dominant hand palm up. Your dominant hand's going to kind of start open like this, and you're going to pull up to your head. Pull up. This is the sign for learn. I think of it as like holding up open a book, and you're taking the information and bringing it to your head. Learn. So you would go, me, learn, ASL. And that's the sign for American Sign Language, which is ASL. So I do it very fast, but yeah.
So you had your other hand on your arm
Like this, or when I was doing this?
when you did ASL. I thought I saw you.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. So that is me just trying to emphasize and directly show you where I'm putting my hands. That'll happen more so. You do not have to worry about that. That is me just trying to show you directly what I'm doing. This is almost like, think about a speaker or when they're emphasizing or they're pointing really directly at a board. That's what that was. And because I'm a teacher, it's kind of a habit where I will start to like do this where I'm emphasizing things. Do not worry. You would still do me learn ASL. Okay. Thank you for catching that. Please, if y'all see anything like that, ask me and I can explain.
That's Gillian teacher habit because her students know that when she does that, she means like, hey,
Look at me.
This is on the test.
I can be a little dramatic with my children in the sense of I can be just as sassy with them in that way where I'm like, and I'll like even do the head bounce with it too. we have a good time with it. So they know me, and that's when they're like, okay, that's the letter you're looking for. Cause like I do math. So like we'll have like, formulas where it'll be A plus 2 equals 7 or whatnot. And they'll be like, what am I doing? A. And I start to kind of just point to it, that kind of thing. So, but yes. Okay. So let's do our I am learning ASL again. So we had me learn ASL. All right, awesome. Okay, let's go back and so I know I showed you, I didn't have everyone, I think, sign it, but we're gonna do it again. Sign for fingerspell, so fingerspell. And you kind of do a repeated motion of it again and again. Fingerspell. Then we had sign, and then sign. Okay. All right. Our next one we're going to do is the sign for please. So the sign for please is going to be like we did our my, but now you're going to go in a circular motion. Please. Please. Okay. Then we're going to do how you would say, please slow down. So the way you're going to do is you go, please, and then you're going to do slow. Slow is going to have your non-dominant arm kind of on its back like this. Your dominant hand is going to come on top of it and slide up. So please slow. Please slow. Some people will just do like one hand across the back of the hand, please slow. But you can do the please slow, like almost full arm slow. So that's a good one to have for if you're talking to someone and you're not catching what they say. Don't smile and nod the whole time because you never know what they're saying and you never know what you could be getting yourself into. I had a teacher who literally at one point said she was watching someone sign something and she missed something, but she kept smiling and nodding. And then before the end of the conversation, they're like, okay, I'm gonna see you tomorrow. And she's like, hey, wait a minute, what? And they're like, oh, so you volunteered to help with the basketball tournament or something. She's like, no, I did not. So smiling and nodding can get you in trouble. Just ask them, oh, I'm sorry, like I missed that. I know I'm giving you all these sentences. You're like, I don't know the sign for that. You can still say just please, slow, please, that. Okay. Then we have please repeat. This is also again, repeat and again have the same sign. So we have please. Then repeat is going to have your non-dominant sideways. Dominant is going to kind of have that bent hand and you're going to go again. Again. So please repeat. Please repeat. You can say, please repeat slow, like slowly. You can put those together and say that. So, okay. We have 2 more signs and then we're going to go back and then we'll finish with our game. Okay. The last 2 signs I have are the signs for yes and no. So the sign for yes is you're going to have a S like this, and you're going to bounce it back and forth, up and down. I always think head nodding like, yep, yes. Then we have no. No is going to be kind of in this shape. It's going to be your 2 pointer fingers and your thumb, and you go no. They go on top of each other. No.
This is my favorite sign. I use this on my kids all the time.
I just think it's funny because like you can have a lot of ASL is really fun to let your personality show through. And so with that is you can really it's almost like how when we talk in like silly tones or things like that, ASL, you can do that. And so like, nope, like that kind of motion. I have one group of kids, they're 6th graders and we like to mess with each other and they'll be like, can we please do this? And I'm like, nope. I will go and they're just like, so it's really fun to let your personality go through with your signs. And you'll see as we go along, I'll show you kind of different ways you can use your personality to really make it fun. So, but yeah, so we have our nope. Okay, let's go back. So we had please. So please. Then we had please slow down. So please slow. Then please repeat. Please repeat. So it's like, kind of make that motion of like it's happening again. Yeah, repeat. And then yes, yes. And then no, no, no. So yeah, okay. Before we do our game, are there any questions you guys have? Anything you need me to repeat? Anything like that? Feeling good? Okay. All right, awesome. If you do think of something, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat. So, all right. For our game, what's going to happen is I'm going to finger spell words. I'm going to start with small words, like 3, 4 letter words, and then build up into kind of bigger words. Okay. I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to do it, I think, 2 or 3 times, kind of depending on, I kind of read y'all's faces. And if I see your eyes start to bug out, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this again. If I see everyone just kind of looks like they've already gotten it and I've seen responses, then I'm going to move on. So, but we're going to do a few words. Trying to think. I don't always like to put a limit on it because it kind of just depends. Sometimes it's like boom, boom, boom. Sometimes it's like we need a minute. We'll just kind of see how it goes. So, all right. Are we ready? Okay. So number 1. All right. Okay, once you get it, type it in the chat. I realized I almost didn't say that. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. So, okay, we have so many people. Let me see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, good. There's like a long list of names. That's why I was like, okay, wait, I don't know if we got everybody. So I wanted to make sure. All right, awesome. So let's dog. Yes, good. See, you guys are already knowing ASL. All right, number 2. Okay, ready? Oh, you guys are so fast. Awesome, 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 awesome. I told you I was gonna start small and we'll get bigger. And I try not to always be on the same like topic, but I can't help myself on this one. Okay. Number 3. All right, ready? This one might be a little bit challenging, just a little. All right. Okay. I'm gonna spell it again. Okay, so maybe it wasn't as challenging as I thought. The WLs always throw me off. You'll start to notice as you probably like see more finger spelling is you almost can kind of assume and figure out what the next letter is going to be. One of the recommendations my ASL teachers a long time ago used to recommend was when you're seeing the letters, sound out the word. I know it sounds a little crazy when you see it because I'm like, I sound out ka, but then you'll catch on ka at, like it helps almost catch it. Because there will be times where you will fingerspell a word over and over again, being like, what is this word? And then you finally like say it and you're like, oh wait, I know what that word is. I have done that a few times. I will literally sit there and fingerspell a word. I'm like, again and again, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, oh wait, I know what that word is. I do. I just didn't hear it. So, okay, perfect. And let's see, number 4, I believe. I'm gonna do a bigger word here, okay? So number 4. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. I love seeing y'all's faces when you're like, oh, I know what that word is now. Because I can see like the, oh.
Clearly, there's no such word as Cotty.
See, but see, it like our common sense will click in and we're like, wait a minute, that does not make sense. And that's when you can be like, wait, there's a letter. But awesome. Okay. All right, so we're number 5. Okay. Let's try a slightly bigger word, okay? I will go very slow. Like, that's why I'm holding my hand, is so I don't go fast, okay? This is how I control the pace of my hand. All right? Number 5, right? Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time, okay? Sound it out. Try to sound it out if you can, or even visually read the letters like you wrote it on a piece of paper, okay? Okay. So that one was library. I think I'm gonna have to add that into our list more often. I try to like pick new words every time, just so if you do go back and watch the first ASL class, you can go like near the end and watch those quiz videos again. And I try to make them different as I can, but sometimes I pick the same things. That's a good one. I could tell everyone was like, wait a minute, what? The typical letters are not close to each other right now. So
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking that R was the hook. And then I thought about the pirate and I'm like, okay, I know that's not right.
yeah, live. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that would throw me. I would stop immediately. Okay, BX, we're not talking about BMX, we're talking B. Okay, yeah.
We're like, what's the pirate line about?
Yeah, right.
See, but look, you remembered X is like a pirate. You knew that at least. See, I have to have some stories just to help you remember certain letters, because that's how I remember them. So, but yeah, okay. Let's try, what was that, number 6, I think? So I think let's do about 2 more, and then I'll leave it open for, is it 5 or 6? 5, okay. We'll do 2 more anyways, and then what we'll do is I'll leave it open for any questions you guys have, okay? So number 6, I have to think of something better. I do this all the time. I apologize, guys. I'll give us a shorter one now, okay? I'm not gonna test your brains too much. Last one will be long, but this one will be short, okay? All right, so number 6, okay? Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, let's see. Yes, good. Okay, so dense. I love it with the D. So like I said, D and F will flip all the time. But yeah, so that was thins. All right, good. So you guys are catching them really good though. That's really good. All right, our last one. All right, y'all ready? This one's kind of, wait, no, I have to change this one. I'm sorry. The one I used, I remember last time I used it, I finger spelled it wrong, and I'm not doing that to y'all. Okay, I can't do that. So I have to think of a big long one real quick. Nope, I can't think of it. I'm like, the brain just goes away. Like literally brain goes away when I have to think of an actual word. You are mouthing and I can't see what you're saying, Miss Katie.
Poppy is harassing me right now. It is like I am addressing one of my children. Sorry.
No, you're good. I thought you were talking. Sometimes that happens when we mute, is like someone will be talking and I'm like, nope, It's not coming in. It's not coming in. Okay. All right. I have a good one. Okay. Here we go. So number 7. All right. Ready? Sorry, I love all of y'all's facial expressions with that one. All right, let me do it again, okay? Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay. Okay, good. So it was workshop. I knew that one was gonna be a hard one. Once I was watching, I was like, some of y'all's facial expressions, you're like, okay, got it, what was that? Like the letters would just throw you off. So that's why I thought this is a good one because it gets the K and the P in there, and that can be what throws everyone off. So, but y'all did
Yeah,
good. I
it
see
threw
most of
me
y'all.
off. I did worked it okay. I don't know where that came from. I don't know, but
You knew this was K. It was just
yeah.
like, down, yeah.
And then you threw that P and like, wait a minute.
That's what'll happen. I'm telling you. That's why I like to add like a little bit of a challenging word because you're just like it catches you and it makes you really have to think. So, but yes, you guys did awesome though. That one I really thought was going to be really a big challenge. So give yourselves a pat on the back for that one. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is we don't have time. If you guys have any questions, yes. Oh wait, where'd she go? Oh, okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
sorry. How, if you're spelling a word, but you're putting a space in between it, do you do that for ASLs? It kind of like we just have to put it all together. I hope I'm making sense of my question. Like,
Yeah.
how do you
Nope.
show a space?
I know exactly what you're talking about. So if I were going to be like finger spelling my name is like, let's say I was going to say my name, Jillian or whatnot. I would go I would have almost like a space. Like I would almost take a breather, like not hesitant, but like you would wait a second and then go on. So like my name, and you want to put your hand down. Let me do a better sentence. My name is, I can't do that. So let's see. Let's do my first and last name. That one works. Okay. So I would go Gillian May. And I almost move a little if you saw. So I hesitated on that finished and then I moved to my last name. That would be how you would do a sentence as you kind of would want to space it. But not too big where you're going like Jillian, waiting a long time. May. You would just kind of go Jillian May. That little hump over there. And most of the time, people are not going to assume you mean in, like sliding across, because they know you're going, like you finished and then you're over here. So, if that makes sense. It's when you use it in action, you can see it better. So, yeah, so getting a certification in ASL. Do you mean like interpreting or do you mean like communicational skills?
I guess communicational skills or just the ability to utilize it in a work setting, would would they want you to be certified before you actually can help somebody? Or is it possible to be certified? I mean, I don't know the certification levels.
So that one's kind of, it's not a complicated question, but it's a complicated question in the sense of that with certifications, for example, for interpreters, okay? It's kind of a common misconception which happens. I'm gonna tell you guys this, and I hope you guys get shocked like I always do every time. When you have an interpreter, you have to have a certified licensed interpreter. I am not a certified interpreter. I know that doesn't make sense. I'm a certified teacher for deaf children, yes, and I have my certification in ASL, but I don't have an interpreting certification. There's a difference. So whenever you see on TV or anything like that, you see someone who's interpreting, they are supposed to have a certificate or certified interpreting thing, like a form, basically. What's a little crazy is some people don't check. And so you have some people who come in and interpret, and they're not interpreting right. There's actual not signs right. That has happened more than once I've seen on occasion. And it's a bit interesting. So that's always kind of a common, almost like frustration, is making sure you have certified interpreters. But for being certified in ASL, I'm not necessarily sure outside of a college related kind of course sort of deal. We have at, like, for example, at my school, when I was about to be an intern to join their school to do my internship, because I actually got to intern at the school I'm at now. And then like I interned in the spring, finished, and then in the fall they hired me. So it was awesome. I got to just stay at the school. But during my internship, before I could even go into the school, I had to have what's called a Skippy. It's a sign language proficiency test. And there are different levels. You have I think this is just survival, which is basics. Then you have the beginner. Then you have intermediate, well, there's 5. Intermediate, advanced, and then master. So there's different levels. I'm not necessarily sure how people outside of like working as an educator can do it. I will check and see, just kind of curious to see how that could happen. But those are kind of the 5 levels. And then they have like a level in between. So it's like for intermediate plus, advanced plus, master. I think master, I don't think there's a master plus. I think once you hit master, like you have to have it really like skilled. Like if that's pretty much a first language kind of sense. So, but I will definitely check on that and see and let you guys know if I find anything on that. So, any other questions you guys have? I know it's over the time, but anything you're just like, I need to know now? Are we good?
Does
Okay.
does your thumb placement matter with the letter I? Because I feel like some was like this and then some was kind of
Okay.
Okay.
Not really. I did notice that. I was going to say that too. With your I, it almost can kind of flip. And when I say that, it's just kind of like depending almost on the next letter or the letter before. It kind of will change it. As long as you make sure your thumb does not stick out when you're trying to say I, because that becomes a Y, you're pretty much good to go. That's just something that I will kind of like, if I'm doing like family, like I'll have my I already kind of here. But if I'm talking about like sister, like I have my S here still. You see, I did it fast, but like sister. So how it never changed. It kind of depends on the word. But yeah, that's not a big deal if you have it in front or on the side.
Okay.
All right. Any questions? Or I think we're good. I know we're over time.
Okay, I will stop our video and I will upload it to the channel. Tomorrow, I will email y'all the link to the class and a list of the topics we're going to cover and the vocabulary sheet that will have the phrases we learned and things like that. And then I'm going to share the colors video as well so that everybody can review that, because next week we'll do numbers and time. But after that, we might be doing some things that would have the colors in them. So anyway, a lot to share. Be on the lookout for that tomorrow. And thanks so much, y'all.
Wait, can I say one more quick thing? I want to say, when we do our numbers next week, you guys are going to get to learn how to sign numbers all the way up to 999 on one hand. I just want you all to think about that for a week, okay?
She's a math teacher, y'all.
Yes, I am.
It is obvious.
But y'all have a great night.
It was awesome.
Thank
See y'all
you.
later.
Thank you. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Have a good night.